The glittering spires of New Geneva stretched towards the stars, a testament to humanity's first extraterrestrial city. Ambassador Elena Reyes straightened her uniform, taking a deep breath as she prepared to address the Galactic Alliance for the first time. It had been just 5 years since first contact, and now humanity stood on the threshold of a new era. Representatives of the Galactic Alliance, Elena began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. On behalf of Earth and all her colonies, we thank you for this opportunity. We come in peace, eager to learn and contribute to this grand tapestry of civilizations. The chamber buzzed with a cacophony of translated whispers. Hundreds of alien species, each more fantastical than the last, regarded the human delegation with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Ambassador Zixera, a towering insectoid from the Hive Collective of Arcturus, chittered softly before speaking. We welcome Earth to our alliance. Ambassador Reyes, your species has shown remarkable adaptability and technological growth in the short time since your discovery. However, some among us question whether humanity is truly ready for the responsibilities that come with membership. Elena had anticipated this. We understand your concerns, Ambassador. Earth has a complex history, one that includes conflict. But we have moved beyond those darker chapters. Our focus now is on exploration, scientific advancement, and peaceful coexistence. We believe we have much to offer the Alliance in terms of innovation, arts, and diplomacy. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species, like the ethereal Luminae, seemed enthusiastic about humanity's inclusion. Others, particularly the war-hardened Krell, watched with narrowed eyes and clenched mandibles. As the debate raged on, a commotion near the chamber's entrance drew everyone's attention. A Volare messenger, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with urgency, burst into the room. Counselors, grave news from the Outer Rim. The messenger gasped. The Nexus Array has detected an anomaly, a massive force emerging from uncharted space. They've already overwhelmed 3 border outposts. The chamber fell silent, then exploded into chaos. Species that had been bickering moments ago now huddled together in fear. Elena exchanged worried glances with her human colleagues. High Counselor Ivani, a wizened Aetherian, raised her arms for silence. We must not panic. The Alliance has faced threats before. We will convene an emergency session to coordinate our response. As the various representatives filed out, Elena felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find Ambassador Zixera looming over her. It seems, human, that your initiation into galactic politics will be more eventful than anticipated. The insectoid diplomat clicked. I hope your species is prepared for the realities of life beyond your solar system. Elena nodded solemnly. We are stronger than we appear, Ambassador. Earth stands ready to assist the Alliance in any way we can. As she watched Zixera skitter away, Elena couldn't help but feel a chill run down her spine. Humanity had presented itself as a race of peaceful explorers and innovators. It was an image they had carefully cultivated, one that reflected their aspirations and ideals. But deep beneath the surface of that carefully constructed facade lay something else, something that had been dormant for generations, carefully hidden away from prying eyes. Elena knew, as did every human leader, that their history of warfare and conflict had forged them into something far more formidable than the galaxy realized. As she made her way back to the Earth Embassy, Elena's mind raced. Would this threat force humanity to reveal its true nature? And if so, how would the galaxy react when they discovered that the peaceful newcomers they had just welcomed were, in fact, sleeping giants with the potential to reshape the cosmic order? The coming days would test not only the strength of the Galactic Alliance, but the resolve of humanity itself. The awakening had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Alliance's war room hummed with nervous energy. Holograms flickered, showing the steady advance of the unknown enemy fleet. High Counselor Ivani's luminous eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. The Krell defense line has fallen, growled General Thax, his scaled fist slamming onto the table. Our most battle-hardened warriors, swept aside like younglings. Ambassador Elena Reyes stood silently, observing the unfolding crisis. It had been 2 weeks since the emergency session, and the situation had only worsened. The invaders, now identified as the Void Collective, seemed unstoppable. Perhaps, chirped Ambassador Zixera, mandibles clicking thoughtfully, it is time we consider all our options, including our newest members. All eyes turned to Elena. She felt the weight of their stares, a mixture of desperation and suspicion. Ambassador Reyes, Evani's melodic voice carried an edge of steel. Your people claim to be peaceful explorers. Yet rumors persist of hidden military installations on your colony worlds. Care to explain? Elena's heart raced, but her face remained impassive. High Counselor, as we've stated before, Earth maintains a defensive force to protect our colonies. Nothing more. General Thax snorted derisively. Defensive force. We've seen your ships, human. Lightly armed, more suited for scientific missions than warfare. And yet, interjected Zixera, our intelligence suggests otherwise. Curious energy readings from your outer colonies. Unexplained gravitational anomalies near Jupiter. Care to elaborate, Ambassador? Elena chose her words carefully. The Alliance Treaty doesn't require full disclosure of all scientific projects. I assure you, we harbor no ill intentions. The debate might have continued, but alarms blared suddenly. A hologram materialized, showing a Void Collective fleet approaching the Lumine homeworld. By the cosmic winds, whispered a Lumine representative, their ethereal form shimmering with fear. We have no defenses to withstand such an assault. High Counselor Ivani's voice cut through the panic. We must deploy all available ships to evacuate Lumine Prime. Ambassador Reyes, will Earth contribute to this effort? Elena nodded firmly. Of course, I'll contact Earth immediately to dispatch our fastest vessels. As the council chamber emptied, Elena hurried to a secure communication room. Her fingers flew over the console, inputting a series of complex codes. The screen flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Admiral Helena Vega. They're suspicious, Admiral, Elena reported. The Alliance is starting to ask questions we can't deflect much longer. Vega's expression remained stoic. Understood, Ambassador. But we're not ready to reveal everything. Not yet. The Lumine homeworld is under attack. We've committed our civilian ships to the evacuation effort. A moment of silence passed before Vega responded. Very well. We'll dispatch the Hermes battle group. Fast ships, minimal weaponry. Enough to assist in evacuation without raising too many eyebrows. Elena breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, Admiral. But if things continue to worsen? We know, Ambassador. The Lazarus Protocol is prepared. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. The communication ended, leaving Elena alone with her thoughts. She made her way to the docking bay, where Earth's delegation to the evacuation effort was preparing to depart. As she watched the sleek, ostensibly lightly armed vessels powered up, Elena couldn't help but reflect on the irony of the situation. These ships, like all of Earth's publicly displayed fleet, were a carefully crafted illusion. Beneath their unassuming exteriors lay technology far beyond anything the Alliance suspected. A junior diplomat approached, looking nervous. Ambassador, I've been going over the evacuation plans. Even with our ships, we can only save a fraction of the Lumine population. It's not enough. Elena placed a comforting hand on the young diplomat's shoulder. We'll do what we can. Sometimes that has to be enough. As the ships lifted off, streaking towards the beleaguered Lumine homeworld, Elena found herself wrestling with a moral dilemma. How many more would die before Earth revealed its true strength? And once unleashed, could that power ever be contained again? The coming days would test not just humanity's military might, but the very principles they claim to uphold. As the stars blurred outside the viewport, Elena steeled herself for the difficult decisions that lay ahead. The galaxy was about to learn that there was far more to humanity than met the eye. The United Earth Council chamber, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, buzzed with tense energy. Holographic displays flickered, showing the devastation wrought by the Void Collective across the galaxy. President Adira Chen stood at the center, her face etched with concern as she addressed the assembled leaders. The evacuation of Lumne Prime was only partially successful, she began, her voice heavy. Millions were saved, but billions more. She didn't need to finish the sentence. The images of the planet's destruction spoke volumes. Admiral Helena Vega stepped forward, her military uniform crisp despite the long hours of crisis management. The Void Collective has already conquered 12 star systems. At their current rate of advance, they'll reach Earth in less than a month. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the chamber. Councillor Ravi Sharma, representing the Mars colonies, spoke up. Surely the Galactic Alliance can stop them before they reach us. Vega shook her head grimly. The Alliance is in disarray. Their strongest military forces have been decimated. They're looking to us for help, but they still think we're... She paused, choosing her words carefully. Limited in our capabilities. President Chen's eyes swept the room. Which brings us to the crux of our meeting. Do we maintain our facade of peaceful explorers, or do we reveal our true strength and intervene? The chamber erupted in heated debate. Some argued for continued secrecy, fearing the galaxy's reaction to Earth's hidden military might. Others pushed for immediate action, regardless of the consequences. We can't stand by and watch the galaxy burn, insisted General Maria Cortez, her cybernetic eye glowing faintly. We have the power to stop this. It's our duty to act. And risk everything we've built, countered Dr. Elias Wong, the renowned xenoanthropologist. The moment we unveil our true capabilities, we'll be seen as a threat, not saviors. The Alliance might turn against us, fearing what else we've hidden. As the debate raged, a message flashed across the main display. Ambassador Elena Reyes, speaking from the Galactic Alliance headquarters, appeared before them. Mr. President, councilors, she began, her holographic form flickering slightly. The situation has escalated. The Void Collective has breached the Arcturus system. The Hive Collective, they're requesting immediate assistance. A hush fell over the chamber. The Hive Collective, with their vast numbers and advanced biotechnology, had been considered one of the Alliance's strongest members. If they were calling for help, President Chen's voice cut through the silence. Ambassador Reyes, what's the Alliance's official stance on Earth's involvement? Elena's hologram shifted uncomfortably. Officially, they're requesting any aid we can provide. Unofficially, there's talk of coercing us into action. Some members are suggesting that if we don't contribute meaningfully to the war effort, we'll be considered complicit with the Void Collective. The implications hung heavy in the air. Earth stood at a crossroads. Reveal their strength and risk becoming pariahs in the galactic community, or maintain their secrecy and potentially doom billions to destruction. Admiral Vega cleared her throat. Madam President, if I may, the Lazarus Protocol is ready. Our hidden fleets can deploy within hours. The Void Collective won't know what hit them. President Chen closed her eyes, weighing the fate of not just humanity, but countless alien civilizations. When she opened them again, there was a steely resolve in her gaze. We didn't hide our strength out of cowardice or deceit, she declared. We did it because we knew the responsibility that comes with such power. We vowed never again to be the harbingers of destruction. But now we face a threat that leaves us no choice. She turned to Admiral Vega. Initiate the Lazarus Protocol. Ambassador Reyes, inform the Alliance that Earth is mobilizing for war. But make it clear, we fight to defend, not to conquer. As the council chamber burst into action, President Chen found herself standing before the globe that dominated one wall. Her fingers traced the outline of continents that had known centuries of peace. Forgive us, she whispered to the Earth, to the galaxy, and to the generations that had worked so hard to bury humanity's weapons of war. we awaken the sleeping giant once more. Across the solar system, hidden installations hum to life. Massive warships, cloaked and dormant for decades, powered up their engines. On Mars, Europa, and Titan, secret shipyards revealed vessels of impossible design. Humanity had hidden its teeth for generations. Now they would bare them to the galaxy, for better or for worse. The dogs of war, so long leashed, were about to be set loose upon the stars. The Arcturus system blazed with the light of 1,000 explosions. Void collective ships, vast and ominous, pressed their attack against the faltering defenses of the Hive Collective. The insectoid species fought valiantly, but their bioships were being systematically torn apart by the invaders' superior weaponry. Aboard the Hive Collective's command ship, Ambassador Zixera watched in horror as another of their hive cities fell to the relentless assault. "Where are the humans?" He chittered anxiously to his aide. They promised aid. As if in answer to his question, space itself seemed to ripple and tear. A massive portal, shimmering with barely contained energy, ripped open in the heart of the battlefield. Through this impossible breach in reality emerged a sight that would be seared into the memory of every being who witnessed it. The Earth fleet arrived not with a trickle, but a deluge. Hundreds of warships, each larger and more terrifying than anything the Alliance had ever seen, poured forth from the spatial rift. At their head flew the ESS Prometheus, a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest Void Collective vessel. Aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Helena Vega stood tall on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "All ships, this is Admiral Vega. You know our mission. Protect the innocents, eliminate the threat, unleash hell." The human fleet moved with a coordination that seemed almost prescient. Smaller, agile craft swarmed around the larger battleships, forming complex defensive patterns that shrugged off Void weapons fire like rain. The Void Collective, caught off guard by this unexpected force, attempted to regroup. Their largest ship, a Planet Killer-class vessel, turned its main cannon towards the Prometheus. "Incoming fire," shouted the sensor officer. Vega's lips curled into a grim smile. "Activate the Aegis shield." A shimmering bubble of energy enveloped the Prometheus just as the Void weapon discharged. The blast, capable of cracking a planet's crust, splashed harmlessly against the human ship's defenses. "Return fire," Vega commanded calmly. "All batteries." The Prometheus lit up like a small sun as it unleashed its arsenal. Beams of coherent light, missiles guided by AI far beyond anything the galaxy had seen, and weaponized gravitational fields tore through the Void Collective's formations. Ships that had shrugged off the combined firepower of entire Alliance fleets were reduced to drifting debris in seconds. Across the system, the rest of the human fleet engaged with similar Yagua. Void ships found their advanced shielding systems hacked and disabled by human cyber warfare suites. Others were caught in artificial singularities, crushed into quantum singularities by forces they couldn't comprehend. On the Hive Collective's command ship, Zixera watched in stunned silence. "By the First Queen," he whispered. "What are they?" The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Void Collective, facing an enemy they couldn't have anticipated, began a fighting retreat. As the last invader ship fled the system, a cheer went up across the Allied forces. Admiral Vega allowed herself a small sigh of relief before opening a channel to the Hive Collective. "Ambassador Zixera, the system is secure. We're deploying medical ships and repair crews to assist your people." Zixera's image appeared on the view screen, his compound eyes still wide with shock. "Admiral Vega, we are grateful. But I must ask, how did you conceal such power?" Vega's expression remained neutral. "That's a discussion for another time, Ambassador. For now, let's focus on helping your people and preparing for the Void Collective's inevitable counterattack." As the human fleet began rescue and repair operations, news of the battle spread across the galaxy at FTL speeds. Footage of Earth ships wielding incomprehensible weapons and shrugging off planet-killer blasts was watched with a mixture of awe and fear by trillions of beings. In the Galactic Alliance headquarters, the Council chamber was in an uproar. Species that had dismissed humanity as a minor player now clamored for information, for alliances, for assurances. Others demanded explanations, feeling betrayed by Earth's deception. Ambassador Elena Reyes stood at the center of the storm, fielding questions and accusations with diplomatic skill. But even as she worked to soothe ruffled feathers and build bridges, she knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had revealed itself as a slumbering giant, and now that it was awake, for better or worse, the cosmic order had been irrevocably altered. As reports continued to flood in from Arcturus, one thing became clear to every sentient being in the galaxy. The war had entered a new phase, and at its heart stood humanity, no longer hiding, no longer pretending, but blazing forth as a terrible new power among the stars. The days following the Battle of Arcturus were a whirlwind of activity across the galaxy. As news spread of humanity's overwhelming victory against the Void Collective, reactions ranged from jubilation to outright fear. The Galactic Alliance, once a bastion of unity, now found itself fractured along lines of trust and suspicion. In the Grand Council chamber of the Alliance headquarters, Ambassador Elena Reyes stood before a sea of alien faces, each demanding answers. The cacophony of translated voices filled the air, a discordant symphony of confusion and anger. Silence. The booming voice of High Counselor Ivani cut through the noise. Her usually serene features were marred by a frown. Ambassador Reyes, you will explain Earth's deception. Now. Elena took a deep breath. High Counselor, esteemed members of the Alliance, Earth did not mean to deceive you. We chose to keep our full capabilities hidden out of a desire for peace, not dominance. Peace, scoffed General Thax, his scaled skin flushing with anger. You bring weapons of unimaginable destruction into our midst and claim peace. Those weapons, Elena countered, just saved the Arcturus system, and possibly the entire Alliance. Would you prefer we had stood idle while the Void Collective consumed world after world? The chamber erupted into heated debate once more. Some species, particularly those who had suffered under the Void Collective's assault, voiced their support for Earth. Others, especially long-standing military powers within the Alliance, viewed humanity's hidden strength as a threat to their own positions. Ambassador Zixara, still shaken from his close encounter with both annihilation and salvation, chittered nervously. We cannot deny the human's effectiveness against our enemy. But can we trust a species that has hidden so much? What else might they be concealing? As the political storm raged, reports continued to pour in from across the galaxy. The Void Collective, reeling from their defeat at Arcturus, had pulled back to regroup. But the respite was temporary. Already, there were signs of renewed aggression on the fringes of Alliance space. Meanwhile, Earth's revealed military prowess had upset the delicate balance of power that had existed for millennia. Smaller species, long oppressed or ignored by the Alliance's dominant powers, began to look to humanity as a potential protector. Diplomatic channels buzzed with requests for alliances, technology sharing, and military assistance. In a secure briefing room adjacent to the Council chamber, President Adira Chen's hologram addressed Earth's key representatives. "The situation is volatile," she said, her expression grave. "Our intervention has saved lives, but it's also placed us at the center of a political firestorm." Admiral Vega, freshly returned from Arcturus, nodded in agreement. "The Void Collective is down, but not out. We fought time, but we need the Alliance united if we're going to win this war." Easier said than done, Elena sighed. Half the species here view us as saviors, the other half as conquerors in waiting. Building trust won't be easy. President Chen's hologram flickered as she leaned forward. "Then we must show them who we truly are. Not through words, but actions. Ambassador Reyes, you have my authority to offer humanitarian aid, technological assistance, and military protection to any world threatened by the Void Collective. Madam President, Admiral Vega interjected, spreading our forces too thin could leave us vulnerable. A calculated risk, Admiral, Chen replied, but one we must take. Humanity hidden its strength out of fear of our own power. Now we must prove that we can wield that power responsibly. As the briefing concluded, Elena steeled herself to re-enter the council chamber. The debates had not abated. If anything, they had grown more heated. She could see alliances forming and fracturing in real time as species jockeyed for position in this new galactic order. Taking her place at the podium, Elena raised her hand for attention. Members of the Alliance, she began, her voice steady and clear. Earth extends an open hand to all. Our ships stand ready to defend your worlds. Our scientists offer their knowledge to rebuild what the Void Collective has destroyed. We seek not to rule, but to cooperate. Her words sent a ripple through the assembly. For some, it was an offer of hope. For others, a thinly veiled attempt at galactic domination. But for all, it was clear that a new era had dawned. As Elena fielded questions and challenges from the gathered representatives, reports trickled in from the front lines. Human ships, working alongside Allied forces, had repelled Void Collective incursions in 3 systems. The tide of war was turning, but at what cost to galactic stability? The battle for the galaxy's future would be fought not just in the cold depths of space, but in council chambers, diplomatic missions, and the hearts and minds of trillions of beings. And at the center of it all stood humanity, a sleeping giant now fully awake, its every move watched by a wary and wondering galaxy. The Galactic Alliance's Central Archive, a vast repository of knowledge from countless civilizations, had never seen such activity. Representatives from every member species crowded the halls, demanding access to Earth's historical records. Rumors and theories about the true nature of humanity spread like wildfire across the galaxy. In a secure conference room deep within the archive, a select group had gathered. High Counselor Ivani, Ambassador Zixera, General Thax, and other key figures sat in tense silence as Ambassador Elena Reyes prepared to reveal the truth they had all been clamoring for. What I'm about to share, Elena began, her voice solemn, has been Earth's most closely guarded secret for over 5 centuries. It's the reason for our hidden strength and the burden we've carried since long before we joined the galactic community. With a gesture, she activated a holographic display. Images of Earth's past flickered to life. Scenes of war, destruction, and devastation on a scale that made even the battle-hardened General Thax recoil. Humanity's history is steeped in conflict, Elena continued. For millennia, we fought amongst ourselves, developing ever more deadly weapons. But it was in the 21st century that everything changed. The hologram shifted, showing a planet-wide war of unprecedented scale. Cities lay in ruins, continents were scared by weapons beyond imagining. We called it the Terminus War. Elena's voice cracked slightly. A conflict that nearly ended our civilization. In our drive for victory, we created weapons that tapped into the fundamental forces of the universe itself. The devastation was total. Ambassador Zixera's antennae quivered in distress. But your world, it lives. How? Elena nodded grimly. In our darkest hour, when it seemed humanity would extinguish itself, a group of scientists and leaders from all nations made a desperate gamble. They activated a device called the Lazarus Engine, a machine that could manipulate time and space on a quantum level. The hologram showed a massive pulsing construct that defied conventional physics. The Lazarus Engine rewrote our reality. Elena explained. It undid the worst of the destruction, but more importantly, it altered the collective consciousness of humanity. In an instant, we understood the full horror of what we had nearly done. Every human being experienced the devastation we had narrowly avoided. High Counselor Ivani leaned forward, her luminous eyes wide. You're saying your entire species underwent a simultaneous psychological transformation? Elena nodded. It was more than that. The Lazarus engine didn't just change our minds, it changed our very nature. The knowledge of our advanced weapons, the scars of our wars, they were buried deep in our subconscious, accessible but dormant. We remade ourselves as a peaceful species, vowing never again to walk the path of destruction. General Thax growled skeptically, "Yet you maintained these weapons, this power. Why not destroy them entirely?" "Because we knew," Elena replied softly, "that the galaxy was vast and potentially dangerous. We hoped for peace but prepared for the worst. The Lazarus Protocol wasn't just about hiding our weapons. It was about ensuring we would only awaken our full potential if it was absolutely necessary." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just hidden their strength. They had fundamentally altered their entire civilization to prevent the misuse of their power. "So the humans we've known," Zixera mused, "the peaceful explorers and diplomats. That is who we truly are now," Elena assured him. "The warriors you've seen, the weapons we've unleashed. They're a part of us we never wanted to embrace again. But the Void Collective left us no choice." High Counselor Ivani stood, her form shimmering with barely contained energy. "This is unprecedented. A species with the power to rewrite their own history, their own nature. Ambassador Reyes, you must understand the fears this will raise among the Alliance members." Elena nodded solemnly. "We do. That's why we're sharing this truth now. Humanity stands ready to face judgment for our deception, but also to offer our knowledge and capabilities in defense of all sentient life." As the meeting adjourned, the weight of humanity's revelation hung heavy in the air. The gathered leaders dispersed, each grappling with the implications of what they had learned. Word of humanity's true history spread quickly through diplomatic channels, then to the wider galaxy. Reactions were as varied as the species that populated the Alliance. Some saw humanity's self-imposed transformation as a sign of incredible wisdom and restraint. Others viewed it as proof that humans were too dangerous to be trusted. As debates raged across 1,000 worlds, the Void Collective continued its inexorable advance. The galaxy stood at a crossroads, with humanity's awakened power at its center. The question on every being's mind was clear. Now that the sleeping giant was fully awake, what would it do next? The great dome of the Galactic Alliance's Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with an energy unlike anything in its long history. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered for what many were calling the most crucial meeting since the Alliance's founding. At the center of attention stood humanity. No longer the newcomers, but now the fulcrum upon which the fate of countless civilizations balanced. Ambassador Elena Reyes took her place at the podium, facing the assembled multitude. The weight of her species' destiny, and perhaps that of the entire galaxy, rested on her shoulders. "Fellow sentients," she began, her voice carrying across the vast chamber, "we stand at a crossroads. The Void Collective continues its assault on our worlds, while we debate the past and fear the future. It's time to decide. Will we stand united or fall divided?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. High Counselor Ivani rose, her ethereal form glowing softly. "Humanity has shown both great power and great restraint. But the question remains, can we trust a species with the ability to reshape reality itself?" Before Elena could respond, the chamber's main display crackled to life. Admiral Vega's face appeared, her expression grim. "Apologies for the interruption, but we have a situation. The Void Collective has launched a massive assault on the Centauri Nexus. If it falls, they'll have a direct path to the core worlds." The assembly erupted into chaos. The Centauri Nexus, a densely populated region home to dozens of species, was a critical strategic point. Its loss would be catastrophic. General Thax's voice boomed over the commotion. "We need to deploy everything we have. But our forces are spread too thin. We can't mobilize in time." All eyes turned to Elena. In that moment, she knew that humanity's next action would define their place in the galaxy for generations to come. "Earth will respond," she declared, "but not alone. We call on all Alliance members to join us, not as subordinates, but as equals. Today, we fight not for humanity, but for all sentient life. What followed was unprecedented in galactic history. Ships from 100 worlds formed up alongside Earth's advanced fleet. Species that had been bitter enemies now flew wing to wing, united against a common threat. The battle for the Centauri Nexus was fierce and terrible. Void collective forces, more numerous than ever, threw themselves at the Allied lines with suicidal determination. But they faced something they couldn't have anticipated: a galactic community fighting with the full knowledge of what was at stake. Human quantum weapons opened rifts in spacetime, swallowing entire enemy squadrons. Hive collective bioships regenerated Allied vessels mid-battle. Krell berserkers charged Void dreadnoughts head-on, buying time for more surgical strikes. It was a symphony of destruction and cooperation unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. As the conflict raged, back in the Alliance chambers, Alina worked tirelessly. She moved from delegation to delegation, not commanding, but coordinating. Humanity's advanced AI systems, linked with tacticians from a dozen species, created battle plans that adapted in real time. Hours stretched into days. The Void Collective, for the first time, found itself truly outmatched, not by humanity alone, but by a unified galactic front that fought with both advanced technology and desperate determination. When the last Void ship fled the Centauri Nexus, a cheer went up that echoed across 1,000 worlds. The tide had turned, decisively and irrevocably. In the aftermath, as reconstruction began and the long process of driving the Void Collective from occupied worlds got underway, the political landscape of the galaxy shifted once more. The Galactic Alliance, reborn through fire, emerged stronger than ever. Humanity, with its awesome power and the burden of its history, took its place not as conquerors or saviors, but as equals among the community of stars. Alina stood with High Counselor Ivani, General Thax, Ambassador Zixera, and leaders from across the galaxy as they signed the new Centauri Accords. This agreement would reshape the Alliance, distributing power more evenly and establishing protocols for sharing advanced technologies responsibly. "We've glimpsed the darkest possibilities of our future," Elena addressed the assembly, "and together, we've chosen a brighter path. Earth's journey from self-destruction to self-imposed peace is not unique. Every species here has faced its demons. Now, we face the future united." As the session concluded, Elena found a quiet moment alone. She gazed out at the stars, thinking of the long journey that had brought humanity to this point. They had awakened their sleeping strength, confronted their past, and found a new purpose. The galaxy was entering a new age. Challenges remained. The Void Collective was wounded but not defeated, and the temptations of power would always exist. But for the first time in eons, there was hope. Hope born not from dominance, but from unity. Humanity, the once hidden giants, had found their place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as saviors, but as fellow travelers on the grand cosmic journey. The sleeping giant was awake, and the galaxy was better for it.